Fresh baked. Boy, this is one of my favorite topics that we're going to talk about tonight. Can't wait. Can't wait for you guys to share. Well, I'm going to share with you some of my, hey Daniel, some of my learnings and maybe learn from you a little bit too. Good evening, everybody. Porkins NSA. He's got a wrench next to his name. Way to go, Porkins. Got a bunch of mods on duty. We'll take a minute. We'll take a minute to say hi. Hello. What's up, Brian? Howdy. What is an e-ticket ride? I heard that term a lot and don't know what it means exactly. Well, Stephen, I'm sure there's been a video about that, but that's a worthwhile video to do. Okay, so today, Stephen, when you buy a ticket for Disneyland, you get entry into the entire park. There's no restrictions. Anything inside the park, you can do. But when the park first opened, you would pay an admission to the park. It was much less than what you would pay for the whole park. And then you also, the rides were purchased on a, per ride. You would pay 20 cents to ride the streetcar. You'd pay 20 cents to ride Casey Jr., that kind of thing. Or you could buy ticket books. And the rides were classified as either I don't know if it's A, B, C, D, or E. I think they skipped D, but the very best rides were the e-tickets, and you only got 2 of those in your book. Or maybe it was 1, I don't remember. But an e-ticket was reserved for the very best ride in the park, or rides. So now that term has stuck. So whenever you're talking about a really big, really impressive, very popular attraction, it's called an e-ticket ride. Hopefully that explains it. So for example, today e-ticket rides would be Indiana Jones, Space Mountain, I don't know if Matterhorn, because they actually have tiers for them today. They still, like when you get a fast pass, there's 2 kinds, there's 2 tiers of fast passes. And I want to say that Matterhorn and Big Thunder are both in the 2nd tier. So today the e-tickets would be Indiana Jones, Space Mountain, probably Star Tours, maybe Splash Mountain. I don't know, something like that. And then all the rest would be D or A or B tickets. There you go. I like the sweater vest and red shirt combo. Thank you, Tony. Okay. That's true. David Page says some of the old rides still have a window covered up where you could buy and redeem tickets. Well, Dumbo had one for the longest time where the organ was on Dumbo. That was the old booth where you could purchase a ticket for Dumbo. The lighthouse tower at Storybook Canal Boats was a window where you could put in a ticket or buy a ticket. The mushroom across the way at the Teacups was a place where you could buy or redeem a ticket. Some of that stuff. I did a video on that 100 years ago during a history week I was doing. Yeah, I guess I don't know if Haunted Mansion, because those are so easily. It's easy to get on Pirates. It's easy to get on Haunted Mansion. I don't know that they would make those e-tickets today. It would be the Yeah, I saw that, Anthony Rendon. Whew. I don't know how, I don't know baseball as well as I did back in the day, but he's pretty good. I'm happy to have him. Yeah, Porkins says D for sure. I think you're right, Porkins. I think Pirates and Haunted Mansion would both be D tickets today. They wouldn't be, even though they are the most famous, most popular rides, they wouldn't necessarily be the e-ticket. That's the rare one. That's the hard one to get. Yeah, that's what I mean, Tony. The lighthouse, the red and white lighthouse. Okay, so tonight's topic. So Rod and I, when we're in the middle of a Walt Disney Day stretch here at Fresh Baked. Today was episode 2 of that. We got 2 more to go, I think. Yeah, Nate, thank you. Michael, I don't contact me through email or tweet at me maybe. Because I watched or I follow, and Nate won't forward anything to me that you tweet also. But I don't. I'm pretty much completely off the grid on Instagram these days. Remy has taken over completely on that. That was hard for me. But okay, so Ronnie and I were talking about. It was, we're in the middle of a Walt Disney Day. You got 2 more of those coming on tomorrow and Saturday, and we've been talking about opening day attractions, things that happened during opening day. And part of the conversation that we were having, that I was having with Ronnie while we were waiting for the train, was a series of videos that I'm working on. That it's going to be about the birth of Disneyland, and it's going to be a very long, broad, epic type documentary style series of videos, almost Shane Dawson style, I would think. That's my goal, at least. That's the vision that I have for these videos. Is going to be, kind of like a 5-parter. Each part having pertaining to a certain segment of the story of how Disneyland was born. And he and I were talking about, some of the early inspirations, some of the inspirations for Disneyland, some of the locations that they discussed, some of the rides that were being discussed very, very early on, going back to Burbank, etc. And so that's what I want to talk to you today a little bit about. Is I want to share with you some of that information, and then also I want to poll the audience, as it were, because maybe some of you who go back or who have done their own research can share some of your sort of anecdotal type information that you might have about how Disney was born, what inspired Walt, that kind of thing. So I am listening to you guys, and I'm going to share with you a little bit. For example, one of the things that Ron and I he mentioned it in the video, but this is something that I've also said for a very long time. And Ronnie and I see eye to eye on a lot of things when it comes to Disneyland, and Ian too, for that matter, who we should hopefully be seeing on Saturday, by the way. All things being equal, he's back in town, and I'm going to try to pick his brain on Rise of the Resistance, though. He doesn't like to give out spoilers, so I don't know how much we're going to get out of him. But anyway, I've always felt like Walt's, Disneyland was, in the end, is little more than a giant train set. Walt's personal train set. Kind of think like, I don't know if what was that Steve Carell movie that, Welcome to Arwen, I think it was? Like, I can almost visualize him having the train set in his house, which he did have one. He had a train set in his house. Eric Van Den Ordel gives us $2, says, no super chat tonight. Yes, there should be super chat. All are welcome. Thank you very much, Eric. I didn't turn anything off. Maybe people just are holding back. Who knows? There we go. Rebecca Hewer is also there with $2. She says the Disneyland Railroad is my favorite OG ride. Can't argue with that. But yeah, I can imagine Walt having that train set in his house, looking at it, playing with it, building it, putting in the miniatures, putting in the little houses, putting in the trees, putting in every detail to make his world in that train set as detailed and as specific and in his vision as possible. And then him wanting to crawl up inside of that train set and live in it. I can see him doing that. And have you thought about doing a video on Walt's Barn? We have done a video at Walt's Barn, actually. We have, but I do want to go back soon because it's lovely, and I want to ride the train again next door. The the live steamers train. Like the Lego movie, only with real people. Yeah, Jason, so true. And I feel like that's what Disneyland is it's his train set blown up to real life size, and his dream is to live in that train set. And one of the quotes that I have found while doing research was one of the things that Walt liked to do was get up early in the morning in the park before the park opened and drive around on the, in the fire truck. Where is my train set? Gaming Govern, I have a deep yearning desire to own a train set, but I won't do it. I'm not going to sell it. I'm not going to do it on the cheap or on the short. I'm waiting until I have a home large enough with a room that I could dedicate just to the train. I want to build an enormous, I don't know how big, like table that would be almost room size that I could put the train set in, and then I could work on it from on the outside and from the inside. I would crawl under and then have it in the round and build an entire city or entire town or whatever. When that happens, when I can do that, then that's actually the cat. That was not Sophia. That was the cat. She's trying to get into Sophia to go visit Sophia, but she's in the back with Liz right now. I don't even, I don't know scales. I don't know scale. I don't know gauge. I don't know any of that. I'll find out when I get there. I just know I want one, and then I want it to be beautiful. So I can definitely empathize and imagine and sort of share those feelings that Walt must have had when he had his train set. But anyway, we got a $10 gift from Sandra Fatland, who gives us, who says, "I can't wait to see how you present this new series, Love Disney History." You know what? I do too. I love me some Disney history, and this has been a percolating in my mind for a while. It may take a little while to do because, like I said, at first it's very ambitious in size. The scope of this thing is going to be pretty big. So it's going to take a lot of research and, I got to write the script and all that stuff. And it's going to take a minute, but I'm looking forward to putting it together. And hopefully, I can dedicate some real time. Something's probably going to have to suffer. I don't know what it's going to be, but one of my projects is going to die, I'm sure. One of my other projects, I don't know if it's going to be, Duke or Fresh Baked Presents, the website. The website's already kind of dead, but anyway, Walt would ride around on the fire truck before the park opened because he just I forget who the person was who said it, but he said that some people thought it was kind of crazy and weird that he would do that, but it wasn't. You have to imagine or have to understand that he wasn't just being a weird Uncle Walt driving around a train or a fire truck. He was living his dream of being able to live inside of his train set. That's why the train goes around the park, because on a train set at home, you generally design the train to go around the town, and then you build the town within the perimeter of the train. And golly, that just sounds terrific. It sounds terrific. The guts that it took for him to say, "I'm going to do that," and then do it. This is why we love Disneyland. This is why we love Disneyland, because of just one man's vision and inspiration to do a thing. It had nothing to do with money, although he did want to make money, obviously, just like he did with the movies. He did want to make money while he did this. But really, it was more about making his desires come true. Now, before I get on, I want to remind everybody, Fresh Baked Presents. Okay, so I've been doing news on the main channel. Because I thought about consolidating a lot of the content that I put out there onto the one channel. We got a $15 gift from Joe Frock. Thank you very much. Joe, he says, "Here, buy yourself, Ian and Ron, 3 Dole Whips." Thank you very much, I'm just saying, Dole Whips. If we do, I'm not. Maybe we'll do a different treat, but I'll definitely try to take you up on that, Joe. Thank you very much. Okay, so I've decided now again. I know this is tedious and annoying, but I'm just a lone idiot with a camera and a YouTube channel, or a couple, trying to figure out what to do. I'm moving the news segments back to Fresh Baked Presents because I feel like I'm in a current right now. I feel like I'm going to be putting out a lot of news content in the near future. I started doing those things with the little bulletins, which I really enjoy. I like being able to just turn on the camera and talk for 2 minutes about a topic when it happens, when it comes up, and then put it out there, as opposed to trying to curate that information into a larger video, which I did today, by the way. There's a new news video up on Fresh Baked Presents today, if you want to check that out. But I do have a feeling I'm going to be putting out a lot more stuff, a lot of news stuff on Fresh Baked Presents. Thank you very much, Pink Parfait, who says she loves the new little news videos. Thank you. I do like them myself. I like just putting that stuff out there. The reason why I'm doing this, though, is because one of my fears, one of the things that I don't want to do is, kitty, is that I don't want to oversaturate the channel. I don't want to put, there's such a thing as too many videos, right? I already feel like we probably do too many to begin with on Fresh Baked proper. And I didn't want, I don't want there to be any kind of burnout. I want to keep, Fresh Baked as much as possible to the trip reports and the history type stuff. Andrew says, what's your pipeline and routine for creating your videos? Well, that depends. Which video are you talking about? The trip report videos I film, on Saturdays typically, or when I get the gumption to go to the park. Hunter Smith gets to $5 his People Mover drive-by, since apparently people don't know me for that anymore. Bring it back. Hunter, how else do they know you? That's how I know you. Greg Ramey gives us $5 also. He says, hi, David. You wondered about the second train track. The Frontier train ran on it with the cattle cars when Frontierland was the main attraction. Yes, thank you very much, Greg. I have, we got quite a few comments to that effect in the video. So I have learned that since then, and I'll be sure to include that whenever I do a history video on the Disneyland Railroad. But yeah, it makes sense now that they didn't stop at every station like they do today. They stopped at the, I guess, what would amount to be the odd stations, so they would have to go around the other track. So there you go. Drew Din says, I would love to see you do a video analysis on each Imagineering episode like the other day. Well, that ship probably sailed. Is it too late to do a video like that? I don't know. I feel like you kind of want to do that while it happens, like a review almost. Ryan says, how do you think Walt would feel walking through Disneyland today? I think he'd be very, very proud. I really do. People think that he might, and on some decisions, be turning in his grave a little bit, and that's possible. Walt made mistakes too. Walt made mistakes. He made some bad decisions, and not everything he did was a home run. A lot of things that he did didn't work out, and he would admit to it. But failure is part of success. So what's wrong with Kitty is that the door's shut, and she can't get into the room that she's trying to get into. So there's nothing wrong with her. Yeah, that's the prime example, Joseph. He says he put a big top circus in the park. Nobody wanted, he thought that was one of his earliest ideas, going all the way back to the original concepts for a park, was a circus. And he thought that would be something that people would want inside their park. People didn't want a circus. They didn't want to go to, they wanted to go to Disneyland. You can go to a circus anywhere. It makes sense in hindsight why they didn't want a circus, but he didn't see that at the time, I guess. Are you going to Rise opening day? I sure hope so. I'm going to try. It's a Friday, so it depends on work. I don't know. Holiday Land. Yeah, that was, well, I mean, I think that Holiday Land was just kind of filler. Holiday Land, I don't know that he was ever fully committed to that. There's a lot of things that they did just to have something going, and it was never intended to be a permanent sort of situation at the park. We got a $5 gift from Brian Stone. Thank you very much, Brian. He says, have you ever ridden in the original passenger cars at Santa Margarita Ranch? No, I have not. I've never done that. Gabe DL says, by the way, I got to give you credit, David, for noticing Joe Rohde picking up the building. Well, it's hard not to notice. I mean, some folks didn't realize even what they were looking at, that was the Innovations building. And it's one thing for him to pick it up, but it wasn't so much that he picked it up, it was the body language that he was having while he was doing it. And the body language definitely said, what if this wasn't here? Okay, it was like, I'm going to put it over here and I want to see how it looks without Innovations in the way. And I don't think you could interpret it any other way. Now, interestingly, in that video, right before that, he's getting eye level on a roller coaster. Now, I could not identify that roller coaster. Can anybody else tell me what that roller coaster was that he was looking at? And we got a $10 gift from Stephen Crawford. Thank you very much, Stephen. He says, here is some money for enchiladas. Also, wonder if one can play virtual Disney Play Parks games in the Rise virtual queue. Well played, sir. The whole point of having Play Parks app and an enormous queue is for people to be in it. Now, with the virtual queue, people are not in the queue. They're waiting out there, which, I mean, I get it. I get why they're doing it. Maybe that's just something they're doing in the short term while the place is going to be super packed. Yeah, that's interesting. It's going to be hard. It's going to be hard to do some of the Rise of Resistance Play Park stuff if you're not stopped in the queue long enough to actually take advantage of it. All right. That reminds me. Laramie was texting me the other day about the virtual queue system at Walt Disney World and how it's working today. Does anybody have an update for me on what time the virtual queue boarding passes sold out this morning? I wanted like a recent number, if anybody has that. They stopped allowing people to get a second boarding pass. It was such that you could get to the park at like 6:30 in the morning, get through the gate, get a boarding pass at 6:30 for Rise of the Resistance at Hollywood Studios and Walt Disney World. You could get a boarding pass by 6:30, ride it, and then it was still early enough that you could get a second boarding pass for later that evening. And apparently, there was some grief going around. Eric Sapp gets us with $2. Says, go to Yesterland to see the ride classifications. Okay, thank you very much, Eric. There were some complaints from guests saying, well, they got two, which means I can't get one now because they got two. 7:20. They were sold out at 7:20 because it was 8:30 before. Was it 7:20? No. That doesn't sound right at all. How would they be selling out faster if they were taking away the ability? Well, 52 minutes from when? And is that 7:30 Eastern or 7:30 Pacific? I almost said Western. Wow, really? That is so early. Indiana Jones stopped printing decoder cards a while ago, didn't they? I thought they did. Okay, wow, Western. I know, right? Okay, so So let's take that first part of that. What do you guys think about somebody getting 2 boarding passes on the same day for rides? Do you guys have objections to that? Or do you have an opinion one way or the other? 7:20 Eastern. Wow. They were selling out at 8:30 back when they were allowing people to get two passes. Okay, so it looks like the early word is that it's not fair that somebody was able to get 2 boarding passes. I'm just trying to, I'm browsing the comments here before I give you my opinion. If you want it bad enough, you'll get there early enough. You can still get one on request. I didn't know that. Do you need boarding passes for anything else at Disneyland? No, you don't. Okay, so now it's starting to even out a little bit. Okay, here's what I'm thinking. I feel bad for the people who couldn't get one. But there's a mentality out there that you could just go on standby or get there at 8 o'clock and get one casually. If a person is willing to get to the park at 5:30 in the morning, if they want it super bad enough to ride Rise of Resistance, get there at 5:30, get through the gate at 6:30, and do all that. If they're willing to do all that, then go for it. And if you want to do it again, get another one. I'm fine with that. You should be able to ride any ride you want in whatever way is allowable by Disneyland. Now, it's no longer allowable. Disney has changed their policy, but if Disney says it's okay, then I'm okay with it. I don't think that you can regulate that kind of thing. Like, it's not up to me as an individual to make sure that you have the chance to ride. It's just, I know it's a bummer, but when you hear things like somebody getting to the park at 9, you know what? You know what it takes. These people who are getting there early enough knew you have to do. If it's important to you, then you will do what's necessary. And if it's not that important to you, then first come, first serve, man. First come, first serve. If it's not important to you, then you don't get one. If it is important to you, it'll go to the people who it's important to, and that's the way I feel about it. It's funny. We did Adam and I did the 30 ride challenge on Big Thunder, and we didn't get a lot of this, but there was a couple comments about it being an abuse of the Fast Pass system. How? Disney makes it possible for me to do that. I'm going to do it. Do you know what's ridiculous? Here's what's ridiculous, Fresh Baked. And people you got to apply yourself a little bit. You have to apply yourself. I think it was the night before. No. It was the weekend before when we came up with this idea. Adam, and Ron went to go ride Splash Mountain. And we thought, well, it's not very busy. We're going to ride Splash Mountain. We're just going to go standby. It said 5 minutes on the app. So we get in line, and it's not 5 minutes. It's 35 minutes. Okay, so we go to get a Fast Pass. Understand, we've done nothing special. We've asked for nothing. We have done nothing but apply a little ingenuity. We go to the Max Pass, and it says that the Max Pass return time is in 5 minutes. So we get out of the queue for standby, get a Max Pass, and walk right back into a queue immediately, and we're on the ride in 5 minutes. It's nothing more than doing what Disney allows. And that's just being smart. It's just being effective. That's applying yourself. So for whatever it's worth, my little soapbox on Rise of Resistance, hopefully I have a feeling they're going to limit us to 1 boarding pass on when Rise of Resistance gets here to Anaheim. Max Pass is a great advantage, and you got to pay for it. right? That's just park savvy, baby. Thanks, Nate. Yeah. It's like when people hog up space for shows and parades. No, it's not. It's nothing like that at all. I don't think so. How bad do you anticipate chances of getting on in Disneyland? I think it's going to be pretty hard. I think it's going to be difficult. I'm not looking forward to it. That's one of the questions I'm going to ask Ian on the first day. What time did he line up outside? I would like to know. I didn't watch any of David Reynolds' videos. I'm not sure if he caught up with David after he rode Rise. I'm not sure, or if he said it on his Twitter feed. But I'll have to find out. People used to camp out for tickets. If you want it, you'll speak it into existence. I agree. Lots of people just line up outside. Those people want it bad. Why shouldn't they have it? Why shouldn't they? They want it bad, or they want it more than you. It's like the participation trophy. You know what I mean? It's like that. I showed up at Disneyland. I should get to ride whatever ride I want. I'm here. I showed up. Well, no, man. Some people worked harder than you did to get to that ride. So there you go. Life's not fair. Put in the time. Agreed. Put in the time. They were there at 3:30. All right, I can do 3:30. I don't know. I don't call that a local secret. I just think that's what we do here, man. We share. Team Invasion of Rise of the Resistance. That's funny. All right, what were we talking about? We were talking about the birth of Disneyland. Guys, let me hear your thoughts. Let me hear some of your little personal anecdotes, what you might know about, I know that some of you kind of maybe even have some, I don't know what to call it, inside info, but you've been around for 55 years or 65 years or whatever. You might know how it was, what it was like. Do you suggest buying a hotel if I live 3 hours away? Well, that's up to you. I mean, it's expensive. It depends on what you value. Do you value the money more or the convenience? It's a question of what's important to you. And it all goes down to that question. How important is comfort? How important is your time? How important is your money? How important is Rise of the Resistance to you? Answer those questions, put them in a priority sort of list, and that will give you your answer. I can't answer that for you. Do you know how early the parking lots open? Well, they opened when they opened Galaxy's Edge, they opened the parking lot at midnight. So I would imagine they might do something similar this year. We'll find out. We'll find out, and I'll put up a 2-minute video about it on Fresh Baked Presents. First time at Disneyland, February 1960, not crowded. Remember, so much fun. I was 10. Wow. God, that must have been something. 1960, that was before New Tomorrowland. That was still just regular old Tomorrowland too. None of the Tomorrowland on the move. Michael, I disagree. I disagree with that. You have a chance to ride everything, but first of all, it's not possible to ride every ride. It's not possible to ride every ride in Disneyland. Unless it's under the most perfect conditions. And Bisbee Dave just gifted us with $100. Wow, namaste. Many thanks to you, Bisbee Dave, for that gracious gift. Wow, thank you very much. It just says, hi, Fresh Baked, Merry Christmas. You don't even want to ask a question, man. Very, very kind of you. Thank you very much. You can't ride all the rides. So that question becomes, what's important to you? What rides are important to you? And then you make those your priority. That's just how it is. That's just how it is. You can't do it all, and you are not entitled to ride every ride at Disneyland. I did ever ride. Oh, I did every ride in Disneyland, and it took me all day. Luis, yeah. What year was that? How many rides were there? And was it during the summer or during the winter? Yeah. Okay. The shooting gallery. Wow. I'm trying to catch up here. Okay, so sorry guys, I keep reading. I'm trying to read all these comments. Do you anticipate a new FastPass system addendum set up once Rise is taken off the boarding pass system at Hollywood Studios to become part of the regular digital FastPass booking system? Well, they are ready. They are ready for digital FastPass. They're, it's set up. The infrastructure's there. Same for Smuggler's Run. So I hope they don't do it at Smuggler's Run, to be honest. I think maybe one attraction with a FastPass is good at Galaxy's Edge, but I don't think they both should have it. So I don't know. We'll see. But Smuggler's Run is pretty efficient. It really is. They're constantly running groups through that attraction. They can cycle a lot of guests through Smuggler's Run. Why is there somebody knocking at my door and causing my dog to go bonkers? Coco, please stop. What in the heck is going on? Why is there? I think I'm getting a package delivered. Land shark, I know, right? What do you think Walt's favorite ride would be that wasn't around when he was alive? Big Thunder. I think it would be Big Thunder. Oh, that's kind of roller coastery. He wasn't really a roller coaster guy. All the good stuff is done during his time. But I mean, I guess, yeah, I'd probably stick with Big Thunder. Yeah. Okay. Abolish FastPass and put every e-ticket on boarding passes. That could happen. That could happen. I think that the boarding pass system, the virtual queue, really is what that is. The virtual queue system could be the future of FastPass. That's a good observation, Twerch. Haunted Mansion, because he never got to ride it. That's true. Walt, but he was involved. So I think I would want to maybe limit that conversation to only those attractions that would be completely new to him. Early age, when living in the LA area, I'll ask for some details. Grandpa was a fire chief and firefighters had exclusive nights to themselves in the park. Boy, that'd be pretty cool. That would be pretty cool. How many virtual queues could a person be in at a time? I would imagine it's the same, or it would be the same system FastPass or MaxPass, where you can you can stack MaxPasses in a way. But I doubt you could stack them in the same way for the virtual queues. But maybe not. Who knows? Because that's basically what a FastPass is a virtual queue, right? It really is. I agree, Valerie. I think Walt would have loved Radiator Springs. I agree with that. Tina says, one more time, then give up. You said Haunted Mansion Standby was 1 hour and Fast Pass was 4. Yeah. So you're talking about when we were there with Sophia on Sunday. The standby queue, it was an hour to wait in the standby queue, and we would have had to wait 4 hours to get into, because a fast pass doesn't just get you in immediately. Obviously, you have to wait for your fast pass window to arrive, and the more popular an attraction is, the faster those fast passes sell out. They're, like the boarding queues, the boarding passes for Rise of Resistance, they sold out at 8:30. There's no more boarding passes at 8:30. You could get a boarding pass at 8:30 that lets you ride at 10 p.m. at night. That's a 14-hour wait. Right? Oh, now she's got it, duh. Yeah, I didn't mean, maybe you thought I meant like it was a 4-hour queue, which no, of course not. Would Walt Disney like Star Wars Galaxy's Edge? You damn right he would. Yes, he would, for a lot of reasons. I have no doubt of that. I have no doubt of that whatsoever. Okay. All right, so let me talk about a little bit more. Hey, look, it's Theme Park Obsession. Hey, man, what you doing on my live stream? He said, Walt will be proud of Tokyo Disneyland and DisneySea. Oh, man, are you kidding me? Walt would have loved Tokyo DisneySea. Let me tell you something. Tokyo DisneySea did it like Walt would have done it. Walt didn't, I mean, he was mindful of the bottom line. He didn't want to spend more than he had to. But he would have. Walt put every penny he ever earned, pretty much, you could argue, back into his company, back into the park. He put as much money as he could back into it. And he believed, and this has been quoted, he believed in giving guests more than they expected, and that they would appreciate it. They may not be able to say why. They may not say, I appreciate the fine detail on this stagecoach. Look at what you did here. That's fantastic. They wouldn't be able to articulate it necessarily, but they definitely would appreciate it. What's the word? I'm not is intrinsically the word I'm thinking of. It's just part of that feeling you get. And Tokyo DisneySea gets it. They got it from Jump Street. So yeah, I'd agree. He goes on to say he would be proud of the accomplishment all the way from a business side relationship with the other company. That's very true. With the Tokyo, what's it called? The OLC. With the other company, and of course the accomplishment from the team. Yeah, I agree, 100%. What's the difference between Fast Pass and Max Pass? Functionality, nothing. Max Pass is just a digital version of Fast Pass that you have to pay for. Max Pass it's on your phone, and it allows you to book a Fast Pass from anywhere in the park. Even for the other park, if you have a Oriental Land Company. Even if you're in Disneyland, you can book a Fast Pass for DCA if you have a park hopper. If you don't have Max Pass, then you have to get a physical, or you have to go to the attraction's location and physically ask for one. So you have to walk all the way to Space Mountain, and then you have to walk all the way to Splash Mountain. So you're paying $15 for the convenience of doing it on your phone. You just need to keep your phone charged. I travel with two fuel rods always. Do you think we'll get live entertainment at Galaxy's Edge once Rise opens? Yes, I do. I do. Okay, I had a thought. I was talking about history, the birth of Disneyland. You know what? I want to ask you guys. Let's just run some trivia by you. I'm going to ask you guys. You've heard Walt say that he came up with the idea while having popcorn, sitting at the carousel at Griffith Park with his kids, thinking there should be a park for families. I feel like that's kind of an anecdotal story that doesn't really tell the whole story. Well, obviously it doesn't. And I feel like the story goes beyond that and before that. But can anybody guess what would be Walt's earliest inspiration for Disneyland? Like, what is it, at what time, what year, and what event in his life do you think really set in motion his desire to build and create Disneyland? Let's see. Good night, Daniel. Trains, Chicago. I'm sure you meant something else. We got Tivoli Gardens, Marceline. We got an electric park, the birth of his kids. Tivoli Gardens. Well, Tivoli Gardens is in Denmark, Porkins. It's in Copenhagen. Fatherhood, huh? Griffith Park Carousel. Sitting under his dreaming tree. Well, okay. I'm gonna say. Well, before I get to that, we got a gift for $3 from Miguel Venegas. He says, "Hi, I got to shake your hand last Saturday at the Plaza Inn. Well, awesome to have met you, Miguel. I remember that. Thank you very much for saying hi." Yeah, I think that there's two answers here that one could say are correct, that they're both correct. Electric Park. A lot of people don't know about Electric Park, and I'm going to go into great length on Electric Park when I do this video. But that was a theme park in Kansas City when he was living there. That I don't want to say that he said I'm going to build Electric Park or something like it when he went to Electric Park, but it certainly inspired some of his ideas, i.e. popcorn lights, according to Laura Wade, and she is correct there. I think it does provide an inspiration. So I would accept that, yes. But I think the Tivoli Gardens actually is probably more correct in the sense that because he had already had, the idea had been germinating in his mind already before he visited Tivoli. But I think once he discovered what Tivoli Gardens was, that's when he said, yes, that's what I want. That's what I'm talking about. That's what I want to, that's how I want my park to be. Now, and then he made his own version of that. But I do think that that's probably the most close relationship that one could draw is, by Disney. And it's funny because both parks actually acknowledge that greatly. Gordon Ho gets the $2. He says, diaper money. Thank you very much. We could use it. We're running out of diapers. We get some more soon. Yeah, thank you very much. Diapers are getting low. They just a couple years ago, they had a Disneyland day at Tivoli Gardens, which I think is really cool. They had a Disneyland day at Tivoli Gardens where, both companies sort of shared in the, Imagineering of that event. And then also, Disney has a cruise. I think they still have it. There's a cruise that includes a visit to Denmark and Tivoli Gardens. And it's actually like a Tivoli Gardens experience, which I find fascinating. Ethan Aylett gives us with $5. He says, did they build Galaxy's Edge with the ideas of adding future smaller attractions later, i.e. dark rides? I sure hope so. I sure hope so. You can't build a land without a ride for kids. You just can't. And I just mean, at least in terms of height. Like you need at least one ride that doesn't have any height requirements. Because New Orleans Square has just 2 rides, and neither of those I would say are necessarily for kids, but any kid can ride it. Adventureland, any kid can ride Jungle Cruise, go to the Tiki Room, or climb Times Square's Treehouse. Frontierland, Big Thunder has a height limit, but any kid can go on Mark Twain or the Columbia. Toontown, obviously, there are things to do for kids in Toontown. Interesting, actually, because there's a height requirement for both. There has to be a height requirement for both Roger Rabbit and Gadget's Coaster, although I have to imagine that Gadget's Coaster has a shorter than typical height requirement for a roller coaster, but still there is one. You can't put an infant on Gadgets. That's interesting. Toontown, a town that supposedly is just for kids. Huh. Anyway, to answer that question, I would hope that Disney does. I just don't know where. They've already filled in the space. They would have to take out something that's already in the land to make room for a kid's ride in Galaxy's Edge. I don't know where they put it. Okay, we got a $10 gift from Emo Fanatic. Thank you very much, Emo. He says, here's for a churro. Thank you very much. If I ever run into you or Dylan when I vlog at the parks, I'll make sure to buy you each one. Bummed I didn't meet you when I ran into Adam for the Vlog Squad food testing at DCA. I'm sorry I missed you too, Emo. Dan Wynn gets us with $2. He says, you'll need a boarding pass to get on Rise of Resistance. Yes, you will. And I intend to get one. Let's see. Dog says, I think when the city denied his carnival park idea that he wanted to build next to his company, the idea for something grander, bigger, better was starting to be concocted in his mind at Disneyland. Well, his original idea wasn't for a carnival. The city just assumed it would be. His original plans concept was very similar to what you see at Disneyland. But I agree, it was a blessing in disguise because he had already outgrown the 16 acres that was available to him in his mind. He had already outgrown that, in his vision. So it was a good thing that they denied him, in my opinion. Disney Adventure Vlogs gives us $2. He says, off topic, is the Queen Mary ship haunted? Depends on who you ask. They do a haunted tour of the Queen Mary. There is that. And I'm not saying, I think they do a thing for Halloween, but I think there's also a haunted tour that you can do year round. But that's only if you are a believer. I am not a believer, so I don't believe in ghosts, so I can't ever say that anything is haunted. Ask my wife. She says, hell yeah, it's haunted. It is for sure haunted, according to Brett. See what I mean? It depends on who you ask. Brett says, heck yeah, it is. And the other guys say, I was there also. No, not really. So it just depends on who you ask. Yeah, it is creepy, to say the least. Current problem at Walt Disney World, too much space. Can you elaborate on that, Scott? I'm not sure what that means. Laura's going to haunt me when she goes. That's funny. Some say Walt haunts Disneyland. Who says that? Really? I've never really heard or felt that. Hey, Crystal Taylor, how are you? I feel like I haven't said hi to you in such a long time, Crystal. Love and miss you guys too, man. I was just asking Liz today. I'm like, have you talked to Crystal? I was this close. I don't do a lot of texting, mind you, Crystal. I was this close to texting either you or Joe to say, what's up? But she said you guys have been talking, so I'm good with that. But because I don't really do a lot of that myself. But man, I miss you guys. Scott says, Walt Disney World is too spread out. They leave things standing but not operating. Park hopping takes an hour plus. Well, there's that, but they've also got the 5 gates. So, I mean, that's, yeah. Any chance? No, they're in the back room chilling. Sophie's been going through it a little bit. She's very fussy these days. So, yeah, it's hard to leave her alone because she's having, well, anyway, probably not tonight. When do you think gout rides at Disneyland or Disney World will have Fast Pass available for guests, if at all? I have no idea. I have no idea. Eric Vanden Ordell gets up to $5. Says there is still expansionary behind and to the right of the Smuggler's Run building. Yes, they'd have to remove temporary structures to use it. They would, but is it enough room? I've seen that expansion pad. It's not very big. It's not enough space, I don't think, for a ride, is it? Plus, I think they're using some of that. Aren't they using some of that for the Oga's Cantina expansion? Amy99, yes, there is a Royal Dorks video coming soon, by the way. There's a video. We went to the Irvine Spectrum and went to the Hello Kitty donut shop or whatever. I don't know. We did a quick little video while we were there. And then we got an unboxing that I'm still working on that we're going to be putting up on Royal Dorks soon. Let's see. Kenny Ryman gets us to $2. Says, did you take Sophia to see Santa yet? No, we're going to skip Santa this year because we were told don't bother. She's not going to have any clue what's happening anyway. So it's more for us than her. So I'm not really worried about it. Yes, I hear the cantina is being expanded. Disney hasn't announced it. It's just a rumor, but it's a fairly well-founded rumor from what I understand. They've already, for example, put out a casting call for cast members for the kitchen and stuff. That's where that rumor is starting, basically, is on that note. Does Mickey's Runaway Railway have a height requirement? I don't think they've confirmed anything, but it's a trackless ride that doesn't. I don't think there's any kind of thrill factor, so I would say it's probably okay for anyone to ride, I think. Would Tomorrowland still be Tomorrowland or an IP? Well, I think Disney's 100% all in on making things IP. Michael Bomber gets us $2. Thank you very much, Michael. He says, towards a churro, like always. Thank you very much. Oh, sorry, guys. Did you hear when Indy is closing for refurb? I can't. Yes, but I can't remember when it was. So maybe somebody can fill me in. I can't, off the top of my head, I can't remember when the dates are, or even what they're doing. You know what would go great with this live chat is an enchilada. Yes, it would. Well, we got 2 minutes, guys. Get your questions in before it's too late. 2 minutes. Max Pass is worth it since I saw your video with Adam. It is worth it. I mean, okay, there is a point of diminishing return with Max Pass, especially if you have a big family and you got to buy one for everybody. It's like $60, $70 a day sometimes. And if you're here, 10, 12, 15 times a year, maybe you just get the AP and then you don't pay for the Max Pass. Buying a Max Pass each of those times seems like a lot. But if you're here just once a year or less, then I would say definitely get one. Yeah. They better not add projections on the Hitchhiking Ghost. No, I don't think that's on the table. I'm probably not going to do any food challenges just because I can't eat a lot. So whatever challenge there might be, I wouldn't be able to do it. I just know I can't. I don't have a big appetite or a big stomach. So I'm not capable of eating. I can't eat the way Magic Journeys eats or anybody else for that matter. I just can't do it. Plus, You know, that's like $100 or whatever, probably in food. Why are you buffering? I don't know. I feel like it. Yep, new episode, the last episode of Imaginary Stories tomorrow. I heard that you should tune out the Imaginary Story once they get to Galaxy's Edge, because you're going to get some spoilers for Rise of Skywalker. So be careful. Be careful on Imaginary Story tomorrow. When does Rise of Skywalker come out in the theaters, into the movie places where I can watch on the big screen? Does anybody? I'm sure somebody's got to know that, right? Yeah, I just caught up, Alexa, on Imaginary Story. I missed a couple episodes. December 20th. That's like, damn, man. That's a week from. That's next Friday. Next Friday. Holy crap. Holy cow. It's over. I'm going to go see it, and then it's over. The Skywalker saga is. That trips me out so hard. When will we get more Tomorrowland news? After Rise opens in January, I'm guessing. I don't know how long it's going to take, but we might get some more rumors come to February February and March. We might get some rumors. Disney won't say anything. Okay, guys, thanks for watching. Don't forget to like this video on your way out. We're done with our show for the night. I want to thank everybody for spending an hour with me talking about history, talking about the birth of Disneyland. And thank you very much again for your generosity, for being so kind with your time and your pocketbooks. We appreciate it. And we'll see you next week. Stay tuned for more. Thanks, guys. Good night. Fresh baked. Love you.